Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Microdose. Get out of pain, get out of anxiety, and start treating yourself a little bit better. Try Microdose. Microdose is a CBD THC gummy that will get you out of pain, get you out of anxiety, and get you into feeling good again. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. Welcome in, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of Darkness Radio. I promise you, we have thrills, spills, chills, some stuff that'll curl your hair, and a lot of laughs. It's Supernatural News with me, Timmy D, and that guy over there, the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, the Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
I'm doing fantastic, Tim. I'm very excited to be back.
We're excited to have you back. Let's start it out with what everybody has on their mind. The big mishap at home, the way we never want to break a bed. Tell us exactly what happened at home that caused you to have to miss a week last week.
Well, it wasn't the exciting way of breaking a bed.
No?
It wasn't the way that you would, you get in the locker room or you get in with your buddies at school and, hey, I broke the bed with this girl,
Yeah.
No.
No.
It was, we have Ziggy Star Pup's crate at the foot of our bed.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier in the day, I'd shifted weights, and the bed kind of shifted. And two of the legs actually kind of went underneath. But I fixed it. I'm like, okay, we're fine. Mm-hmm. Well, the wife's checking on Ziggy Star Pup because she's getting smart enough now where with her crate, she's figuring out how to open up her crate with her snout. So Ashley's watching her, Mrs. Bruiser's watching her, and I'm just laying there kind of flipping through the channels. She happened to move back to where she was laying, and I happened to roll at the same time, and all of a sudden you see whoosh, and the whole bed just went in. We rolled right in the middle.
Whoa.
And so pulling everything apart, we noticed all the legs had broken and a piece of the wood had shoved into the wall about the size of a fist right into our wall.
Oh.
So I spent the weekend trying to figure out how to drywall, patch a hole. And then it's the one wall in our bedroom that's painted.
Okay.
Thank God the people who owned the house before left us paint.
Yeah.
But I had to figure out how to patch a wall and buy a bunch of wood to fix our bed frame, and it was made with cheap wood. That's what you get when you go to discount stores.
I guess so, huh?
Wasn't made for larger people.
No, but there is a mattress company out there, and I'm going to try and see if we can get them as a sponsor on the show. They're called Big Figs.
And they're meant for big people, huh?
Yeah, it's mattresses meant and frames meant for bigger people like you and I. So I think we're going to try and get them on the show and see if we can test out their product. And
we can let them know, hey, check it out.
Yeah.
I already broke a bed, not in a good way.
No, right. So I think we have a good story. We have a good setup here. And we somehow got to get them on this program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how it is, like owning a home, like I'm proud because I own this home. But then it's like, wait a minute, I have to pay for everything. So I had to pay for the patch kit and thank God not the paint. But then all the wood and just. Yep.
Yeah, that's what sucks about home ownership. It when something like that.
The funniest thing though was both Bruiser the cat and Ziggy when it collapsed, and here's Ashley and I in the middle of our bed, just face to face, like what the hell happened? We look up and there's Ziggy and there's Bruiser both sitting. They don't sit next to each other, they're sitting next to each other, looking at us like, what'd you do? And they're both just like looking at each other like, did you do that? Or did you, because it's always one of them getting in trouble.
Right.
But nope, this time it was mom and dad. So they're both just like.
They were giving you that look like, do you get in trouble now? Who scolds
exactly.
you? Yeah.
Are you not getting treats now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I suppose they're looking for justice, and they're trying to figure out who deals that out, if it's them or. Yeah, I mean, I suppose they're a little confused at that point.
Yeah. Whose butt gets swatted here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I see what happens there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I should have taken a picture, but I was too angry at the time.
I don't blame you, my friend.
And you can't be like, I can't be angry at anybody because it's not Mrs. Bruiser's fault. It's not the animal's fault. It's not my fault. It's poor workmanship.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't exactly the Amish that put that thing together.
No. And you know what? I think I'm just going to buy Amish from now on.
Yeah. They do good work.
They do.
Yeah.
Amish or IKEA.
You know why? You know why they do good work? Well, I don't know. I can't speak for IKEA. But you know why the Amish do such good work?
Why?
They're not distracted by TVs and phones.
That's true.
Yeah.
How do they YouTube how to then? I'm curious.
How did they?
That's what I did. How YouTube how to patch drywall. How do I do this?
They lean over and go, "Pa, how do I do this?" And he just tells them. So yeah, it's pretty much how it gets done. Yeah. I can say that because they're not listening right now. See how that works?
Well, you're gonna get the one that does listen complain.
He's out there drinking a beer, riding around in a Maserati, listening on his phone.
No, they're on Rumspringa. When you're allowed to go for those 2 weeks, it's called Rumspringa. They're allowed to go and explore the English world.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, they listen to our podcast, and they're like, well, I'm going to go back and tell Ezekiel about this.
Listening to the devil's work. I was listening to the devil's work, and they informed me that there's a YouTube that tells them how to build stuff.
We need to find this YouTube. Not that tube. Put that tube away.
Yes, that's the devil's work as well. By the way, I took plenty of what they call selfies. I lost my soul while I was gone. I can say that too because they're not listening.
Nope, they're not.
You gotta love the Amish jokes. I should be
Amish. I'm strangely fascinated by the Amish. I used to get made fun of on the underwater needlepoint tours because whenever you go through Amish country, I'd make them slow down if I saw the Amish.
I worked in areas of Wisconsin where there were huge Amish communities.
Oh yeah, when I lived in Missouri, it was Mennonites in Missouri though, not the Amish. It was Mennonites. But I was there during the time in Missouri where they were trying to make it law that you had to have your picture on your driver's license or on your ID.
Oh, that's bad.
And that's where the Mennonites and the Amish were getting angry because you can't take their picture.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can't take it at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You steal their soul. Yeah. Yep. That's I know to some people may be laughing right now, and I get that, but that's the belief. That's the belief. Yeah.
No pictures, no modern technology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mrs. Bruiser and I actually took vacation when we went to Ohio. We went to Amish country.
Did you?
Yeah. We got some really good food.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, they make the best food.
Their sweets are amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Their fudge.
Oh, it's all natural.
Peanut butter pie. Oh.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. It's all good stuff. Yeah, I know. It's the food is good. The furniture is sturdy. I mean, you're not afraid to sit in a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, she just handed me this. It's our peanut butter marshmallow spread. Made by the Amish, Mrs. Miller.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Made with love. It says made with love.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Even Ziggy's excited about the Amish.
Ziggy's excited about the Amish. They probably make all natural dog treats.
She's excited because Mom went by where the peanut butter is, and she knows she can have peanut butter.
Well, that's fine too. And there's nothing wrong with Ziggy chiming in. I mean, you know, member of the family. So if you hear Ziggy, folks, you hear Ziggy. That's just all there is to it. So.
She's excited about the Amish peanut butter.
That's right. She should be. It's good peanut butter. That's right.
Oh, and that's peanut butter marshmallow spread. Tim, you put it on a piece of bread, toast your bread, put that on there. Oh.
It's a toasted fluffer nutter is what it is.
Yeah. You can even put a little bit of chocolate on it. It's almost like a s'more. Yeah.
Don't delicious. You be teasing me right now. I caught a lot of crap. I got to tell you. Okay, so I went into my barbecue joint this past weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was working up in St. Cloud. First of all, I got thanked for what was called the 5-minute ad on the program. So big ups to Corey, who owns Jelly Bean and Julia. Went in, I got my, by the way, I tried a thing from heaven. You're talking about the toasted fluffer nutter.
Yeah.
I was talking to Corey about, there's a famous Chinese restaurant in the southern suburbs called David Fong's, which unfortunately is closing down after, I believe it's 64 years. The owner is retiring, and it's an amazing Chinese restaurant. The owner is retiring, And so Corey and I have been talking about we got to make a trip to go down to, one last time. It's closing at the end of August. Just an amazing restaurant. And so he said, by the way, thanks for the long ad, first of all. I said, well, we were, Bruiser and I are talking food. We get going on food. We're not going to stop. So that's the deal.
Right. We're big guys. We're really big guys.
Right. So one of his guys that works there comes up and goes, what do you want for lunch, boss? I said, well, I'll probably get my usual, which they make such good brisket there. Oh, my God, the brisket's so good. It's just so good.
Love brisket.
Oh,
it's got the nice smoke ring around it.
Yeah. And they do it perfect. That smoke ring, it's so tender. It's perfect. And they make a couple different, they have I think it's like 10 or 15 different sauces there that you can get. But my two favorite are there's an apple bourbon and there's a Dr. Pepper sauce.
I just had Dr. Pepper sauce here. I found some.
Did you? Oh, it's so good.
You were right. You weren't lying.
Good. Yeah.
You weren't lying.
It's so good. So they happen to have a little extra Dr. Pepper sauce left. But what was left was that Dr. Pepper sauce. But then he says to me, what you really ought to try for lunch? We have this Texas brisket Philly. And I went, a Philly? Made out of the brisket? He goes, oh, yeah. Well, see, I'm not a big green pepper guy. To me, green peppers taste like dirt.
Okay.
I'm just not a big green pepper guy. So I said, all right, yeah, I guess I could try it, but I don't want any green peppers. And I was just about to say, here in Minnesota, we don't know how to make a good Philly. Well, the guy who was back in the kitchen was actually out in the front of the house because at the time they were a little slow. It figures the minute I come in, everybody comes in behind me.
Well, yeah.
So there's like
you're giving them the advertising. They're like, "There's Tim Dennis. Let's follow him."
So there's like 15 people who come in behind me. So the guy who's helping me goes, "That our cook actually is from Philly." So I go, "Oh, so Whiz and Whiz Wit and all that stuff." He goes, "Oh yeah." So I go, "Okay." He goes, "But we only have provolone." I go, "Provolone works."
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I didn't want the way that they had their onions. I think they had red onions. They didn't actually have white onions. So I didn't want the red onions either. So I said, I just want provolone. That's it. Just provolone.
Yep.
Oh,
Meat, cheese bun.
Yeah. Well, he threw mushrooms in for me, which I like. Oh. I love mushrooms.
Yes.
So it was just provolone, mushrooms, and that brisket on a roll. Oh my God, Bruiser. I was in heaven.
Yeah. Then that just sounds delicious.
Then I just on one half, you just do the meat, cheese, and the mushrooms, and on the other half, I threw a little bit of that Dr. Pepper sauce on there.
Oh, so good,
baby. Let me tell you,
it's so good,
man. So if you're here in Minnesota, it's Jelly Bean and Julia's in Anoka. You got to check it out. It's the Halloween capital of the world. It's amazing. David Fong's, by the way, amazing Chinese restaurant. I'll swear by their chicken wonton soup.
I love chicken wonton soup.
If you're ever sick, Bruiser, or you're not feeling, you're out of sorts, you feel like you're coming down with something.
Yeah,
we're talking real slabs of chicken.
Nice.
In their chicken wonton soup. I'll swear by it. It'll cure anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been battling a cold, so I should fly up there real quick.
I'm telling you, and
fly back.
Get the large container. The large container is enough to feed 2 people.
Really?
Yeah. And it's only $7.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
No. And it's amazing. It's amazing stuff. But unfortunately, they're closing end of August, which is sad. The kids have a restaurant. I think they have one in Savage. They have another one somewhere else, but it's deeper south and west in the Twin Cities. It's almost out of driving range for me. But
so they just want to close down the main one.
Yeah, Father
wants to move on.
Yeah, David wants to retire, and he's been so good with the community. I mean, he contributes to softball teams, and he contributes to different charities, and every charity that's ever come to him and asked for money, he's contributed, and he's been such a good community partner. He's amazing. So
that's good when you can find a business that supports your community too.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes you feel better going to them.
Yeah.
Even if you're paying a little bit extra, it's going back into the community.
Yeah, exactly. So want to tip our hat to David Fong, who is leaving the community to retire, a much deserved retirement. So Yeah, he's a good guy as well. I know, Tim. What's that got to do with the paranormal? You just want to hear about your UFOs, your ghosts, your Sasquatches. It's all about ghosts. We're getting to it, folks. We're getting to it. We had to hear about Bruiser's bed, and of course we, I got to talk about food. I can't.
You got to.
Yeah.
Especially when it's delicious food.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps us alive. What are we going to do? Folks, let's jump into our stories right away this week. It's so hot around the world. The world is melting, Bruiser.
It's melting. I know in England they had the state of emergency because it's so hot.
Yep. As we tape today, they're expecting temperatures as high as 104 degrees. And as we speak right now, there are houses on fire in London because it's so hot.
It's amazing, the heat. Like, they're not prepared for that over there. They don't get hot over there.
5% of homes in London have air conditioning.
That's it? I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, that's it. And actually, it's also 5% of businesses. So if you take homes and businesses combined, 5% of the population in London, England has air conditioning.
So you can't even go to your local convenience store, walk in for a few minutes to cool down because they're not guaranteed to have air conditioning.
No. Hotels in Europe don't have air conditioning.
Oh, that's got to be miserable.
Yeah, so tourists aren't even, they can't just say, oh, we'll just stay in a hotel and be fine. Yeah. You're miserable.
Yeah, and then if your house is just randomly catching on fire, you're not only miserable, now you're homeless.
Yeah, exactly. So lots of things going on. In this heat, however, UFOs are spotted. They're flying over and taking a look at the devastation that's going on in London.
They're like, ha, our UFO is air conditioned. Ha.
Look at us. We've managed to get cool air. I don't know if they're showing off or what, but a group of 3 metal sphere UFOs were spotted making turns over London. Have aliens come to visit London during the midst of a simmering heat wave? Well, if so, they've chosen to do so in 3 small metal UFOs that were snapped above the Capitol earlier and shared on social media. According to the blog UFO Sightings Footage, the 3 metal orbs were recorded making turns over West London as early as July 12th. So they've been there for a week.
Wow. They just want to check out London.
Yeah. Described as being like balloons, only with an independent ability to change directions, the folks behind the blog are convinced that these weird orbs are extraterrestrial in origin. Glossing over the fact that the wind influences the direction of balloons, the site states balloons can't change direction. The only thing that could achieve this type of maneuvering in the sky would be a UFO that's under intelligent control, or it's autonomous and learning as it goes. UFO orbs are everywhere in the world at this moment. It's likely that we're all seeing surveillance drones, just like the ones we've sent out to survey the deepest parts of space, called Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. There appears to be very little evidence anywhere else on the web to corroborate this claim, so we're taking it with a larger than average pinch of salt. However, a video allegedly captured 3 days earlier appears to show similar shapes moving in the sky above Hemel Hempstead, north of London. What it said, according to the article, it says, while we have no real way of knowing what these shapes are, the chances of alien visitors are on the slim side. Interestingly, though, if they actually were to be UFOs, the UK government wouldn't have much in the way of plans to study them. Last year, the government went on to record, or on the record rather, they recorded as well, but they went on the record saying it didn't have any interest in investigating UFOs above this country because it hasn't observed military threats in over 50 years. Okay. So they don't think that UFOs are a threat either.
Yeah. Well, those aliens are going to be pretty disappointed if this is the readings they're getting of London, and they get back and they report like, oh, London's perfect. It's 105 degrees. And then they show up and it's nothing but overcast and, 30 degrees and rain like it normally is in London.
Yeah.
What is this crap?
It turns out they're Venusian and they're used to like 600 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Responding to questions asked in the House of Lords in the summer of 2021, Baroness Goldie, that was my stripping name, by the way, Baroness Goldie, responded on behalf of the Ministry of Defense that the government holds no reports on unidentified aerial phenomena I don't have that button up, by the way, right now, so you don't get it. For decades, people who have been concerned with UFOs have been dismissed as fantasists. Oh, there's a new word, fantasists.
It is.
Yeah. Lord.
I'm a fantasist.
Yeah. Lord Sarfras said. Lord Sarfras. Sassafras. But now the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, who oversees 17 intelligence agencies, has published a report saying that data on UFOs is inconclusive. The report offers several possible explanations. It does not rule out that these could be military aircraft with very fast capabilities or even extraterrestrial phenomena. Either way, can the minister reassure members of the public that the Ministry of Defense takes reports of unidentified objects in our airspace very seriously? That's a question that they asked. Lord Sassafras, as we'll call him, was referencing a U.S. Pentagon report into UFOs, which said that military pilots had seen 144 sightings that they couldn't explain since 2004. In response to Lord Sassafras's questions, Baroness Goldie, it sounds like it's a made-up court, doesn't it?
I was going to say, this doesn't sound real.
No, it doesn't. Said that while the MOD doesn't hold information on UAPs, it constantly monitors UK airspace to identify and respond to any credible threat to its integrity and is confident in the existing measures in place to protect it. Meanwhile, the MOD says it continues to have no opinion on the existence or otherwise of extraterrestrial life and does not investigate reported unidentified flying object sightings. A spokesperson for the department told Metro.co.uk since 2009, the MOD no longer responds to reported UFO sightings or investigates them, as in over 50 years, no UFO report has revealed any evidence of a potential threat to the United Kingdom. So in other words, what's that?
They don't think aliens are a threat, is what they're saying. And they're just like, oh yeah, just ignore those. They'll go away.
Yeah. So in other words, the Queen says, piss off, you haven't done anything to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Queen doesn't want to be bothered with your stuff.
Nope, she's got better things to do. There's a Diamond Jubilee that she had to celebrate and all that other stuff. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And her city's literally burning.
Yeah, it's we have a fire brigade to dispatch. So
yep.
She has to wave.
You aliens, pay attention to this. Just go do your thing. Leave us alone.
Mm-hmm. You have a good seat from above. Tally-ho and pip-pip and all that.
Yeah, pip-pip.
Meanwhile, a former Area 51 engineer is saying the U.S. is holding aliens captive and stealing their technology.
Wow.
I mean, we're going from one extreme to the other.
I was going to say, we went from not even caring there's aliens to, oh yeah, we have aliens. We're keeping them hostage and they're giving us all their information.
Yeah. So, if they come by, just tell Fred the alien, we don't know where they are. Yeah. Even though we've got them captive. Alien and UFO conspiracy theorists believe whistleblower testimonies prove that top secret alien technology reverse engineering research work is ongoing at several underground alien government facilities across the country. So it's not just in one place, it's in a lot of places. Go figure.
Well, that's what Lazar said.
Yeah.
They'd move them around, remember?
Yeah. Well, we got to keep the story straight.
But we do. You're right.
Yeah. The whistleblower testimonies, according to conspiracy theorists, also prove that the government is covering up the truth about contact with extraterrestrial races and access to exotic alien technology. Many whistleblowers claim to have worked as government scientists and engineering contractors at several underground alien government research facilities, such as the top secret Area 51 military base in the Nevada desert. Conspiracy theorists believe that alien UFOs recovered from crash sites are being stored at top secret government facilities, such as Area 51 and the Dulce underground facility. Conspiracy theorists cite testimonies by several whistleblowers as proof of ongoing work at Area 51 to reverse engineer alien propulsion technology. One of the whistleblowers was Bill Uhouse, a man in his 70s who claimed he worked from 1966 through 1979 as an engineer at the top secret Area 51 facility in collaboration with a gray alien. According to Uhouse, who passed away in 2009, he worked as a mechanical engineer at Area 51 with a gray alien known as J-Rod.
J-Rod, okay. So he's a pretty hip alien.
He is, yeah. He's got a street name.
Yeah, his mixtape drops next week.
It does, yeah.
Yo, J-Rod in his house.
He claimed to have worked with J-Rod to construct a flight simulator for the training of Air Force pilots who would fly advanced USAF stealth reconnaissance craft developed through reverse engineering studies of alien UFOs. According to U-House, he communicated with J-Rod by using a gray alien technology adapted for use with humans. The technology allowed human scientists and engineers working with gray aliens to communicate via telepathy, aided by a sophisticated translator software. According to Bill U-House, J-Rod showed humans at the facility how to control and fly an alien UFO.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, he's helping. He doesn't sound captive at all.
No.
It's like, check out my ride, yo.
It is claimed that there are different races of the grays. Gray alien races include tall, short grays and grays with size comparable to humans. You never want to be called a short gray.
I was going to say, like, that's the worst way to classify them. Like, that's our tall gray. That's our short gray. He's comparable to humans.
Yeah,
like,
he's a human type gray. Oh, and grays, okay. So, but it is uncertain which of the three major grays races J-Rod represents. Well, if if you're calling yourself J-Rod, I don't think you're a short gray.
No, he's definitely a tall gray.
Right. J-Rod's probably packing.
Yeah. J-Rod's like, yo, I'm hip hop here. I'm number one. I'm the tallest.
Don't be calling me, short gray. I'm a big gray. Check me out, yo. Check out what I'm packing.
I just now picture J-Rod with like a lab coat, but also like a giant Flavor Flav clock and a hat sideways, with like glasses that don't fit him because his alien head's too big.
I would think they'd be a little more advanced than that. I think they look more like Jamiroquai.
No, I think he's a throwback. He's true roots of hip hop.
Huh. All right.
Okay. I think he's got the open, the Adidas.
Yeah.
The shoes, laceless Adidas. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he goes old school.
Old school, huh? All right. U-House claimed that alien tech reverse engineering research activity involving aliens and humans was ongoing at a number of massive underground facilities across the country. Some of the better known facilities include the Area 51 Research Facility and the Dulce Underground Research Facility. The Dulce Alien Government Underground Facility, located near the Archuleta Mesa, near Dulce in Rio Arriba County, New Mexico, is believed widely to be much larger and more important than Area 51. It is believed that construction of the alien government facilities began under the administrations of Presidents Harry Truman and Dwight Eisenhower. They were built to house gray reptilian and tall white alien scientists. Oh, we have their scientists.
Oh, we have all their scientists.
Well, I don't know about all of them, but
we have, wouldn't they be upset and want to come get their scientists?
You would think, but maybe they're irritating. Maybe they're very particular,
Like, oh no, yes, you, please take them. Take J-Rod, you're with them.
J-Rod, go. You're always wanting tea at 4.
He's always talking about his mixtape and how it's going to be lit, yo. Take him.
His music is irritating and his diet is very particular. You may have him.
The treaty with
his diet consists of Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
We don't carry this Mountain Dew on our planet. You may have him.
The treaty with the Greys and the Reptilians included an agreement that the government would allow the aliens to establish underground research facilities where alien scientists would conduct biogenetic research to develop advanced alien-human hybrids. Oh, so we're in on the deal.
Yeah. So this whole lizard people could be a real thing.
It could be. Yeah. To facilitate the alleged biogenetic research program, the U.S. government permitted the aliens to abduct a limited number of humans for research or for use as research guinea pigs. Ooh,
you can take 10 people, no more, no less.
You just leave MGK and Megan Fox alone.
What if they're the product of it? Because you're talking 60s and 70s. They could be the product of it.
They could be, yeah.
The Kardashians
could
truly be lizard people.
They could be. Well, I think they are, yeah.
I do too.
UFO conspiracy theorists claim that most cases of alien abduction involve grays and reptilians using humans for sinister Nazi-style biogenetic research as part of efforts to develop human-alien hybrids. Yeah, could be. Although the U.S. authorities are aware that the aliens are violating the terms under which treaties were signed in the 1950s, they have been unable to stop the violations. The underground facilities are equipped with sprawling laboratories and engineering workshops. The facilities also have sections where extraterrestrial and abducted humans used as research guinea pigs are being held captive. According to U-House, there may be hundreds or even thousands of gray aliens working with the Pentagon on advanced technologies as part of efforts to keep their side of the bargain with the U.S. government.
Well, if they're breaking the rules, why are we still funding them?
I think because they're still trying to give us technology.
Yeah, but still, they're breaking the rules. That's like, what 2-year-old's going to learn a lesson if he keeps breaking the rules and doesn't get punished?
Maybe they're just really cute, short, gray aliens. They're like, oh, you're so cute. Let me pinch your little gray cheeks.
You took 15 instead of, oh, look at the puppy dog. Oh, you're so cute.
They've got the big eyes and they blink.
Yep.
Like,
but they can blink like this way and this way.
Yeah.
No, please, Mr. Biden. We'll put them back.
All right, cute little guy.
Okay, yes, you're right.
We promise we'll come up with a cure for COVID.
Oh, all right.
We have. Look at what we've done. We've given you Kardashians. Look at, they're big in the ass. They're big in the tits. What else do you want? We'll come up with more.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
That's why we just keep, okay, here, have more money, have more resources.
Right. Go take more, whatever. Well, if you can figure out more, we'll figure out more. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, UFO false flag is the question here.
UFO false flag, so like saying that it's a UFO when it's not?
Sure.
We'll have to hear.
Pentagon UFO videos and alien invasion warnings are cover-up, they say, for something more sinister. This according to an aerospace engineer.
I wonder what's more sinister than an alien invasion.
I don't know. The Pentagon videos believed to show UFOs filmed by Navy pilots and are being put out to get the public ready for a fake alien invasion. This according to an aerospace engineer. Mike Barra, who says he has worked on many classified military projects, said he had analyzed the videos, often referred to as gimbal, tic tac, and go fast, and found there was nothing exceptional about any of them. How do you like that?
He wasn't watching the same videos we were.
The TV personality believes they all show easily explainable phenomena, such as drones, and in a wild theory, believes they could have been leaked to prepare people for a fake alien invasion. A fake alien invasion, Bruiser.
So how are we going to fake this alien? I'm curious to see how we're faking this. Is this going to be a whole World of Worlds thing?
Maybe.
Because remember, what is it, the 50s, right? Orson Welles went on the radio?
30s, I believe, 30s.
The 30s, and he went on. For the people that don't know, he went on and he read his book, War of the Worlds, and people tuning in thought it was an actual invasion.
Yeah. Self-confessed conspiracy theorist Mike told The Sun the Navy put out these videos about 4 or 5 years ago now about these objects. There's one called Gimbal, Go Fast, and one called TikTok, or Tic Tac, rather. TikTok is an app that they don't want you to put on your phone because they think the Chinese are spying on you. I'm an aerospace engineer, and I spent 25 years working in the industry, and I know my aircraft. I also know the capabilities of the instrument. I'm a big aviation buff, and I know everything in the sky. I was on many, many different programs. Some were classified in the military, some were commercial. So when I'm looking at these videos, I'm looking at a couple of things. First of all, everything I can see is performing in a conventional manner. There's nothing exceptional about anything on any of these videos, he went on to say. For example, there's the Tic Tac video. When they say, oh, look, it shoots off the screen at rapid speed, that's not what happens, he claims. There's a little instrument indication there on the display that's the zoom factor. And what happens, it says it's zooming from 1, which is the normal focal length of the lens, to zoom factor 2. So what happens is they zoom up, and it zooms up past the object, and it disappears off the side of the screen. The object doesn't move at all. And that's very obvious to anyone who knows what they are looking at. But they are passing this off as, oh, the object shoots off the screen, and then it cut off immediately. Immediately watching that, I'm It says, immediately watching that, I'm detecting an air of deception about these videos, is what he's saying. They've been sanctioned, in essence, by the Pentagon, which means the military wants you to think these might be an alien spacecraft. My question is, why would they want that? Again, I went through all these videos, and I can explain why none of them are exceptional. The Go Fast video is probably a countermeasure of some kind, probably being towed by another craft. It's not really going that fast. Everything was below 25,000 feet. Everything is traveling at subsonic speeds. Everything is traveling in a straight line. And in the gimbal video, that thing looks like a drone combat aircraft being texted, and you're simply looking down on the wings as this F-18 is tracking it. Why is this narrative that these may be alien spacecraft being pushed? Also, you hear these pilots going, whoa, dude, look at that. I've known fighter pilots. They don't talk like that. You don't talk like that in a combat situation. Everything is very much by the book. Mike believes the answer may be that the government wants people to believe that there are aliens out there and that they pose a threat. They, and this is again a quote by Mike, they, and by they I mean somebody in the military intelligence community, wants to start pushing the narrative that aliens are out there and they may be hostile, he explained. And that indicates to me that they're covering up for something else that might be going on. Why are they doing this? And the answer I keep coming back to is that they are preparing for something new. There are a lot of rumors in the UFO community. There's this rumor about Project Bluebeam, which is this idea of a fake alien invasion to be used as an excuse to basically take control of governments, freedoms, and rights. I can speculate about what the agenda is, but clearly I think it is how can we manipulate public opinion and will they cooperate with our directives? If the government said we're being invaded by aliens and they have very good visual technology that could project all kinds of Independence Day-like scenes in the sky, it might not be real. It might just be holographic projections, but that capability exists. Is that a possible agenda that's behind the whole thing, the Sun asked? It would be like, oh gosh, we're being invaded by aliens. Everybody stay at home. We'll take care of you and we'll fight the aliens, Mike replied. That could give people who want a globalist government, a new world order, the perfect excuse to lock everyone down and take control of the streets. The Sun then asked him, do I really think this is going to happen? Well, I hope not, but that's where I'm coming at it from right now. It fits together with what I see, Mike replied. So Mike thinks that this is all a hoax.
Yeah, he thinks there's nothing out there. He even went as far as to say they're going to do this giant holographic battle up in the sky.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it being a distraction for something, but I don't think they're going to wage a fictionary intergalactic war just to incorporate a new world order.
That's a lot of work.
It is,
and that's
for very little payoff.
Yeah, and
it's not like it's not like it's going to happen in one day or 1 week. I mean, that's going to be a long time to establish that.
Well, that's a lot of people who have to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah, you got to pay off a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we're talking soldiers because what are they going to do? They got to film soldiers doing something.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's a long way to go to keep a conspiracy theory going. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Good for him. He found something that keeps him going.
Exactly. Meanwhile, scientists think they've discovered a way to speak with aliens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we talking like Close Encounters with the music?
Maybe. They say they've yet to confirm the existence of extraterrestrial life, but officials don't seem to be stopping with their research anytime soon. As we know, earlier this month, the House of Representatives included funding for a new UFO reporting system in the country's annual defense budget, and NASA has said it will help other government agencies research unidentified aerial phenomena, even if we don't find alien life anytime soon. A group of astrophysicists think they could already be out there and communicating with each other. All it boils down to, essentially, as a new study suggests, is the ability to use quantum communication. That seems easy enough, right, Bruiser?
Oh, yeah, I do quantum communication all the time.
I mean, that's how you guys talk to each other in the ring, right?
Yeah.
Quantum communication.
Scott Bakula taught me everything I know about quantum physics.
It was Scott Bakula, huh?
Yeah. You know, back in the day when he'd leap from one body to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty simple stuff.
Have you ever had that feeling like the quantum leap guy just leapt into your body and leapt out and you don't know what's going on?
Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Since scientists on Earth are already in the process of developing quantum communications, physicist Arjun Barrera, sounds like a bullpen pitcher for the Brewers.
It does.
Yeah.
Now coming to pitch in the 7th, Arjun Barrera.
Well, Barrera, but close enough.
Barrera, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I bet you he has like a 2.92 ERA and a 97 mile an hour fastball. He's probably got a cutter that works real well, and he's probably got a third pitch.
A sinker.
A sinker. Yeah.
Sinks.
Yep.
Just drops.
Bottom drops right off. It drops right off the table.
Yep.
Brewers fans love him. Says it stands to reason that advanced alien civilizations may have already accomplished it. Quantum states that you generally think of as a very delicate, let me try that again because this sentence is confusing. Quantum states you generally think of as very delicate. Quantum states you generally think of as very delicate, and if there's any kind of external interaction, you kind of destroy that state. Barrera said confusingly as he warmed up in the bullpen.
That's why his backup job's quantum physics.
That's right, because he's a better pitcher.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. According to the study from Barrera and theoretical physicist Jamie Calderon Figueroa, who's his backup in the bullpen,
that sounds like an opera singer.
Jamie Calderon, or it might be Jaime Calderon Figueroa. Figueroa. Yeah, I see that. That decoherence would last longer across long distances of space due to the average density of the cosmos. Since that density is much heavier on Earth, Barrera and Figueroa say qubits, the smallest piece of the quantum communications puzzle, could theoretically travel greater distances in space. So essentially, the denser it is, the longer it flies.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there you go. I think that's all we really need to discuss in this story.
You literally just broke that down to the simplest terms that those two couldn't do in the whole article.
It is. They say it's.
If it's thicker, it flies better.
Yep. There you go. It's plausible that quantum communication mediated by photons could be established across interstellar distances, in particular for photons in the X-ray region below the electron mass, they say. So they're just going to shoot X-rays at aliens. And then the aliens are going to wear those X-ray specs, like in the comic books, and they'll get the message. So there you go.
I love it.
One last deal. We use the term nightmare fuel around here quite a bit, folks.
Yes, we do. I'll
tell you, Bruiser. I was dialing around on social media, and I was on my Snapchat. And you know how you have your stories on Snapchat?
I don't have Snapchat, but my wife does, so I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
I haven't gotten around to getting that yet.
There was a story on Snapchat that came from a Reddit thread. So I went to Reddit, and this was posted by u/phonecloth 10 days ago.
Okay.
Supposedly, this guy worked for NASA as an astronomer.
Okay. That's a good job for an astronomer.
I am going to read this thread to you.
Oh,
and this is
you have that serious look on your face?
Oh, dude, this is so chilling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it worried me. You asked how old I was before we got on the air.
Yep. How old are you?
I got a story for you. I'm like, okay.
According to this guy, the James Webb Telescope discovered something terrifying in deep space.
Okay.
Now, you say to yourself, every time somebody posts something on Reddit, and by the way, this is one of two Parashares today. Okay. The reason I say this qualifies as Parashare is because we don't know if this guy really worked for NASA. We don't know if they really found this out through the James Webb Telescope. We don't know.
It's just a guy on Reddit saying something.
Yeah, we don't know if this is fan fiction or if this is real.
Right.
But this certainly sounds pretty accurate. All right. Now there's one chink in the armor here. There's one slip up that you'll think of at the end of this story.
Okay.
That could prove it false. All right. Here we go. Phonecloth writes, I worked for NASA as an astronomer. And there are certain things we keep hidden from the public. No, the earth isn't flat and aliens don't control the government. I'm just going to use the words he uses here, so pardon my swearing. He says, fuck, I wish those were the case, as the truth is much, much more worse. In 1993, the Hubble Space Telescope saw a star disappear. It didn't go supernova or die naturally. It simply went dark over the span of a few minutes. This star was already too faint to see with the naked eye, and ground-based telescopes had trouble picking it out from among the surrounding stars. So the event wasn't widely known to the public. At the time, we thought the most likely explanation was that a cloud of interstellar dust had drifted between Earth and the star, occluding it from view. It was noted and mostly forgotten about. In 2007, 2 more stars vanished. Due to the circumstances of this event, this was much more concerning. The 2 stars in question were part of a binary system, orbiting each other at a fairly close distance. If a cloud of interstellar dust was the culprit again, they would have both seemed to disappear simultaneously or very close to it. Instead, both stars faded individually over a period of minutes, separated by a span of about 8 hours. This binary system was also about 15 light years closer to Earth than the star that had previously disappeared in 1993. After carefully reviewing millions of Hubble images, 2 more stars were identified which had gone out, quote unquote, in the years 1995 and 2002. These were all in the same stellar neighborhood, only a handful of light years from each other. The only conclusion we could draw was that some unknown influence traveling close to the speed of light was shrouding or destroying these stars. Unfortunately, the Hubble wasn't sensitive enough to tell us any more than that. The James Webb Space Telescope first came online a few months ago. Although official channels will tell you that it's still undergoing testing, we have been actively collecting data since early February. One of the first things we did was to aim the telescope at the regions of space occupied by the vanished stars. If they were being blocked by dust clouds, a hope that some of us still held on to, the increased sensitivity of the JWST may have been able to see through them and confirm that the stars were still there. Unfortunately, we had no luck. The first 3 stars that had disappeared were still sensitive observations that had also detected a type of string or web stretching through space, connecting these now invisible stars. Okay. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
When we trained the telescope on the binary system that had vanished in 2007, which was the nearest point at which this phenomena had so far been observed, there was finally enough ambient EM spectrum radiation left to try a mass spectrometer reading. If you're not aware, mass spectrometry is an incredibly useful process whereby measuring the patterns of light wavelengths emitted or reflected by an object, we can learn tons of useful information, such as its temperature, its speed and direction of movement, and chemical composition. The readings we got from the binary stars didn't make any sense, though. First of all, they were cold, almost as cold as the surrounding interstellar medium. Whatever had happened to these stars had snuffed them out completely, or somehow prevented their light from escaping. What was truly puzzling, however, were the emission lines returned by the mass spectrometer. Several familiar elements, such as hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and magnesium, were identified, but these were few and far between. Most of the readings didn't correspond to any known chemical elements, and even seemed to defy what we knew about the physics of light, matter, and chemistry. This matter star-spanning structure was primarily composed of materials that we didn't even have names for, and may not even have been matter as we understand it.
So it's almost like dark matter.
Kind of, but they couldn't identify it. Speculation ran rampant. Obviously, such a thing couldn't be a natural phenomenon. Finally, we had proof of extraterrestrial life. But what was this thing we had discovered? And for what purpose was it being built? The leading hypothesis was that we were looking at a series of Dyson shells, massive solar collectors built to completely envelop stars in order to capture 100% of their energy output. Such a concept had been envisioned in the early 20th century as a potential source of energy for an interstellar civilization. Ever since then, the idea had found its way into popular science fiction. The construction of these massive structures had actually been theorized to be one of the first signs of intelligent extraterrestrial life that we may someday detect. It seemed that day was today. The theory still didn't explain everything, though. First of all, there was the impossible speed with which these stars were covered. Constructing a Dyson shell from scratch in a matter of minutes was beyond even the wildest speculation of scientists and sci-fi writers. Then there was the mysterious filaments that connected the shells over distances of light years. No one had any idea what purpose these could serve, or how they could even be built. Everyone at NASA was fascinated by this mystery. In hindsight, we may have been better off if we had never discovered the truth.
Wow.
There's more.
Oh, okay.
Less than a month ago, the James Webb Space Telescope detected a series of unusual energy bursts emanating from interstellar space. These were occurring at the very edge of a star system approximately 12 light years from the binary system that vanished in 2007. As we focused the telescope on this system, we soon determined that these were not natural phenomena either. The energy signatures, which are still flashing intermittently, matched what would be expected from thermonuclear and antimatter-based explosions, along with several other types of energies that we couldn't identify. These explosions, although still not visible to the naked eye on Earth from that distance, were absolutely tremendous in magnitude, easily billions of times more powerful than any nuke that humanity could conceivably build. Through the Oort cloud of a distant star system approaching its sun, and whoever lived there was fighting back against whatever this was that was trying to absorb them.
Yeah.
Their weapons were able to slow the thing's advance, shattering, breaking off, and vaporizing planet-sized chunks of the object. But it seemed to be rebuilding itself almost as fast as it was being destroyed. After less than a week, the explosion stopped. It seemed that they had run out of ammunition. In the void between the stars, we knew that these things traveled at nearly the speed of light, but as we watched it approach the inner star system, its pace slowed as it swelled in size, preparing to devour the system's star. We quickly trained the telescope's mirrors on the doomed sun. We were about to watch whatever this thing was blot out another star, but in real time. We held our breath as we watched the projected image of the main sequence star, slightly larger than our own sun. At first, nothing seemed to be happening, but soon a small shadow appeared on the edge of the luminous orb. Soon followed another shadow, then a third. The shadows began to converge, forming a strange yet somehow familiar pattern as they blocked out the star's light. "What are those?" one of my colleagues gasped. "They almost look like..." She paused, as if afraid to say the next word for fear of ridicule. I, however, had no such hesitancy. "Leaves," I said in my voice monotone. The situation was far too incredible to express any emotional reaction, even that of pure shock. "They look like leaves." We watched as, over a period of minutes, a web of shadowy outlines, matching the familiar shapes of oblong leaves and thin vines, proceeded to blot out the remaining light from the distant star. By that point, everyone in the room had realized the truth. The phenomenon we had been tracking for so many years wasn't some hyper-advanced alien megastructure. Hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and magnesium. Some of the familiar elements we had detected. They were all components of chlorophyll.
Okay, so they're plants.
It was a plant. An enormous plant that spanned across light years. And much like terrestrial plants, it sought out light to fuel itself. The filaments connecting the stars across interstellar plants were stems, branches. It would grow in the direction of the nearest stars it sensed, completely enveloping them and moving on. Any life inhabiting planets orbiting those stars would be left to freeze to death, or perhaps even worse, it was possible that the plant would devour those planets to add to its mass as well. Everyone was silent as the telescope continued to gather data. Eventually, after what seemed like an eternity, a young astronomer spoke up from the far end of the room, addressing our supervisor. "Sir, we've begun to detect the formation of another tendril, leaving the system. Its vector is..." He gulped, rather. He didn't need to say any more, but he did anyway. "It's heading directly for our sun." "How much time do we have?" the supervisor replied grimly. judging by the time lag, distance, relativistic properties, and previously observed speeds of this thing, I'd estimate no more than 27 years, sir. I'll probably be found in silence for posting this, but I don't care. I have to tell someone. I can't keep this a secret any longer. When the sun turns black and the world begins to freeze, at least you'll have some idea of what's going on. Small comfort it may be.
Wow. If it's true, it's terrifying. But when you were first talking about it, it was kind of a combination of a Galactus from Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
And the Fifth Element, the creature in the Fifth Element. But then you threw the plants in there, and I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. Neither one of those did that, you know?
Right.
Like that, yeah, I got goosebumps. That's chilling.
Isn't it?
That is terrifying. And I hope, if this is a true story, that someone reported it to someone in charge, and they're coming up with a way of how we can defend ourselves.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you attacked it with a thermonuclear detonation. That would only fuel it. I mean, it cuts off the tendril temporarily, but you're feeding it because you're feeding it energy.
Yeah. We just got to get a bunch of grass killer up there. Or
that's what they were saying in the comments. You just get weed killer. You get a big blade and you chop it off.
Yeah. So get some Roundup.
Yeah, some Roundup. You just fill space with Roundup.
Yeah. But still, it's terrifying if it's true, because we can't live without our sun, because our orbit would be thrown off and the planet would freeze or whatnot, you know? Life as we know it would be over.
Yeah, you'd be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I sat and I read that and I went, wow. And you think 27 years, to you and I, 27 years, well, we could very well be gone by that time.
Right. But our children and our grandchildren won't be.
No. And that's
I'm going to keep an eye out now. I want to see how long this takes to go public. If this is true. Again, this is, you and I don't know. We don't know if this is fact. We don't know if this is fiction. You read it on Reddit. You said earlier, this is Parashare, because we can't credit or discredit the guy.
Yep.
But if it is true, hopefully it's taken seriously. If it's not true, this guy needs to start writing comic books or graphic novels or something, because he has a way with words. Because
that is an incredible bit of fan fiction. If that's right. So that's if that's not true, then it's an incredible bit of fan fiction and a creepy story at best.
Yes, and he needs to publish it somehow. If it is true, they need to figure out how to get a giant lawnmower into space.
Exactly. You got
or a weed whacker or something.
You got it. Well, that's a whole lot of pain to be dishing out today to get people thinking about any threat that's out there. Speaking of pain, Bruiser, boy, I've gone through some in my life. I know you've gone through some in your life.
Yep. Saw my orthopedic surgeon today. So
did you? Yeah. Oh, by the way, how did that go? Did it go all right?
Well, let's just say my right hip. You know how you're supposed to be ball and socket?
Yep.
Mine's more like a T. It's flat. Ooh. And then he described it as, it looks like an English mace with all the bone spurs I have surrounding my femoral head.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, how are you not in? And I'm like, I'm in pain. And I explained to him what we're about to talk about here and how it's changed my life.
Yeah. Now, folks, I'll tell you, I've been getting emails on this. I've been getting correspondence from people on my messenger. People have been getting a hold of me on social media and saying, hey, Tim, you've been talking about microdose gummies on the air and how you've been using them and how they've been helping you. And they've been changing the way that you deal with pain and how you're feeling good. You know what? We went out and tried it. We used the code. And the code is this. You just go to microdose.com, use the code darkness. You get free shipping and 30% off your first order. And you know what? I got one that was amazing. Listen to this. I'm not going to say who the person's name is.
Okay.
But they said, my mom doesn't listen to your show. My mom has nothing to do with Darkness Radio, but she's in extreme pain. So Tim, I took the leap. I went to microdose.com. I ordered the gummies. I just said, here, Tim swears by these gummies. Try them. And she did. And she's feeling great.
Yes.
So Mom just says, thanks, Tim, for the gummies, which you're welcome, Mom. That's great. And I'm so happy that mom is out of pain. And she just asked, well, how do you take them? And here's how I take them. If you're using microdose gummies out there, I take one in the morning. I took one before we got ready to record today.
I did too.
And I take one at night because I have real bad pain at night. I have a hard time sleeping. I'm up and down, up and down, up and down. I've been sleeping through the night, Bruiser. The only time I get up is to urinate.
Yeah, me too.
That's it.
I'm not moving around as much as normal.
Right.
Normally, I'd always be moving to try and find that sweet spot, that comfortable spot. But since I started with the microdose gummies, I can lay on my back comfortably. I can lay on my right side, my left side. It doesn't matter, and I get good sleep.
Now, you told me something interesting off air. You said you feel like you're
lubricated.
Now,
feels like all my joints are lubricated.
Not in a I've been drinking a 6-pack type of way.
It just it feels like the best way to describe it, folks, is picture Wizard of Oz and the Tin Man's sitting there and he can't move. Well, I'm the Tin Man, and these gummies are like Dorothy coming along with the oil can and doing the oil everywhere. Like, my joints feel amazing. I'm able to walk around better. My limp is almost gone. I'm getting good sleep. You and I sitting here doing these podcasts, like normally I'd have to get up and stretch and stuff. No, I feel lubricated. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'll tell you, folks, microdose gummies they'll change the way you deal with pain. I'll tell you, before microdose gummies, I was having issues with constantly figuring out how I was going to get by in my day. Now, I've told you before, I've now gotten off of Vicodin and oxycodone. Thank you very much. So 2 drugs that I've had to get off of, short-term opioids. I'm still on MS-Contin for a base, but that MS-Contin, as you know, you build up a tolerance to it. You can no longer, it no longer does what you want it to do. The only thing you can do is keep going up on that. And I don't want to keep going up on that in order to get a base on my pain. You need something all natural that doesn't create that danger to your body. And like you pointed out, pills are going to create damage to your liver, your kidneys. And I don't want to go down that route. I just don't want to go down that route. So
plus on pills, you feel groggy, you feel tired, you're sluggish.
Yep.
With these gummies, you're not that.
No,
you're able to function.
That's the beautiful thing. And you pointed it out there, Bruiser. The reason why you don't feel sluggish with microdose gummies is they contain more THC than other hemp gummies, but less than the maximum allowed by federal law. So they've got less than 0.3% THC. It's derived from industrial hemp. So you take one gummy and you're microdosing. Like we said, microdosing. It's not giving you that high. It's not giving you that sleepiness. It's not giving you the bad experience that you've heard about with other THC gummies. So
right.
You're getting the effect, the pain relief, but you're not getting the high, which is what you want. You want that, it's like taking an anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're able to do stuff during the day. Like I said, I took it before we did this podcast. Obviously with Ziggy's tarp up around, I'm constantly up and down, outside, inside. These have changed my life. I'm able to do everyday things. The pain, it's not completely gone, but it's tolerable.
Yes. Yep. I'm able to live my life as my ortho put it. My wellness of life is okay with what I'm taking. Right. So, and folks, if you want to get that pain completely gone, what you do is you add during the day. Maybe you need 2. Maybe your tolerance goes up a little bit. You need 2 gummies. You use 2 gummies. What's cool is they have this guide, and I have this guide in front of me here, which tells you exactly how to dose. Yep. It's right here. So it tells you exactly how to dose. It tells you the sweet spot for, it says 2 is the sweet spot for those who want the classic euphoric effects and benefits of THC, considered by many to be the perfect balanced high, great for creative flow. That's what 2 is. 1 is for mood enhancement, anxiety, relaxation, tension, pain, and sleep. So one is that true microdose, which is great for typical wellness uses and far more effective than CBD-focused products. One is the one that gets you through the day. One is the one that gets you out of pain. One is the one that gets your anxiety level down. One is the one that gets you ready for the day, that gets your mood up, and what is the one that gets you right there and ready to work, right there, ready to get there and tackle your day. 2 is the one that gets you, maybe you need to get to sleep. Maybe you need the euphoric effects. Maybe you need what you need from THC. 3 or more is recommended for people who are familiar with the effects of 2. And you really need you need a strong effect from the gummies. But you have a guide that comes with these gummies that tells you exactly what they do. And what's nice about microdose is they figured it out. They figured out the formula on how to use this properly to get you out of pain, to get you out of anxiety, to get you sleeping better, to get you more creative, which is amazing too. So we want to encourage people to take advantage of this while you can. You may think, oh, I've got forever to take advantage of this special offer. No, you don't, folks. It's a limited time only offer. So get on the internet, however you do so, whether you do it by tablet, whether you do it by your phone, whether you do it on your computer. Go to microdose.com. Use the code DARKNESS. You'll get free shipping and 30% off your first order. The link can be found in the show description. But again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. When we come back, folks, boy, have we got some stories for you. We have another Parashare to share with you. And by the way, we are going to blow your mind when it comes to AI and humanity. Did we create AI or did AI create us? And did AI actually create zombies? Oh, we're going to blow your mind, folks. It's all thanks to Lisa. We've got to tip our cap to her. We're going to read her Parashare, and she absolutely is going to turn us on our ears. That's going to be one thing we'll talk about. We're going to talk about a story we talked about yesterday on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. If you don't follow True Crime Tuesday, a man killed another man trying to feed him to Bigfoot. We're going to talk about the legalities of that whole thing and whether you can sacrifice somebody to Bigfoot. Believe it or not, Forbes magazine has come out and said that paranormal experiences have now caught the attention of mental health researchers.
Oh, okay.
So it's even become that big now. And we've got some cryptid stories. We'll talk about a fish man. We'll talk about a weird stick-thin creature that showed up on CCTV footage. And I have found, for lack of a better term, it'll be at the end of the program, I have found Bruiser's spirit animal. So we'll talk at the end of the program about Bruiser's spirit animal. That'll all be next here on a Supernatural News Wednesday here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. Right over there is the Beer City Bruiser. It is a Supernatural News Wednesday. Bruiser.
Yes, sir.
We have so many stories to cover here. One of the ones we actually covered yesterday, but I had to bring it back today because it's such a cute little story. I figured I'd just cover it one more time for the people who didn't get to hear it yesterday.
I love this story. This story is fits in both worlds: dumb crime, stupid criminal, and supernatural news. Well,
an Oklahoma man allegedly killed his friend while fishing because he thought that the victim would feed him to Bigfoot. I don't get the story. The two men are noodling, right? They're fishing with their bare hands. They're out there in the middle of, I believe it was a river. An Oklahoma man allegedly killed his friend over the weekend because he thought that the victim had summoned Bigfoot to kill him while they were fishing.
If only these TV shows knew how to summon Bigfoot, there'd be, the shows would be one and done,
Right. I mean, think about Finding Bigfoot and all these other shows that are out there. Think of how they could end their series like tomorrow. I mean,
they could just be like, hey, tomorrow, tune in. Yeah. We're summoning Bigfoot.
We're going to light up the Bigfoot signal. And guess what? We're going to find Bigfoot and show is done. I mean, that's it.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
Well, no, then it becomes like a late night talk show because then you have to summon everywhere you go. You summon Bigfoot, bring him on as your guest, kind of like a Johnny Carson. You just interview different Bigfoots.
See, that's interesting. Oh, wait, did you use the plural Bigfoots?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, we're going to get into an argument about this real quick.
It's not big feet, right?
Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it just be Bigfoot? Like deer.
Like moose?
Yeah, like moose. Like deer, like
okay,
moose.
I can see that. You're right. I stand because you don't say mooses or deers.
Right. You don't say mooses or meese. You don't say deers or door.
It'd be kind of confusing though if I go, hey Tim, watch out, there's Bigfoot over there. Instead of, hey Tim, watch out, there's Bigfoots over there. Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
See, and I hear it all the time on TV. There's a bunch of Bigfoots over there. It sounds so. It sounds so uncouth and uncultured.
It does. I think you're right. I think I'll give you this one because you hit it right, like moose.
But then I've gone to conventions where people argue with me over it. They say no. I'm in the camp where I can
see both, but you won me over with the moose deer argument. You know, because you can't say big feet because you're talking about their feet.
That's true. That is true. But I just can't buy the whole Bigfoots thing. Bigfoot sounds so unnatural to me. It's like
let's summon a Bigfoot and ask him.
That's a good idea. Now, see, your idea for a TV show and mine are completely different. You see like a Johnny Carson talk show where you call him in and he sits down. Maybe he's got a little suit on like a Harry and the Hendersons thing, and he sits down and he does the whole talk show thing. I see a thing where it's kind of like a superhero show where he shows up. You have a big foot signal. I don't know. And he not only fights crime, but he shows up to do like things to save his friends in the forest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's more of a organic type of show.
Yeah, that's true. But I think they might have some good stories.
I think there is. Maybe there's a rabbit who's being picked on.
Then they got to be like the big brother.
Yeah, he's got to come in and save the rabbit, or maybe.
So it's almost like Bigfoot, Big Brother type thing.
Could be. Maybe there's a deer being hunted out of season.
What if we did a survival, like Survivor type thing with the Bigfoot? We just summon a bunch of them and hey,
yeah. Although
they have to vote each other off.
Is that really fair? I mean, Survivor with Bigfoot. I mean, they're going to live.
Well, yeah. But now they're competing against one another.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, but what are they competing for? Like, who can scare the most people?
That maybe a nice house. So, like, no, they don't want house. I don't know. What would Bigfoot beef jerky? Big
Brother in civilization. Like they have to actually live in civilization.
We do a real world with Bigfoot.
The real world with Bigfoot.
6 random strangers, but they're all Bigfoot.
They're all like, yeah. That would be interesting. I'd watch that.
Or what if Bigfoot came in and we just had a bunch of guys dressed up as Chewbacca costumes and confuse them?
Bigfoot or not? It'd be sponsored by Ripley's.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There's that show on Netflix called Is It Cake? Where they make real objects. And you have to decide, is it cake or is it the real object? Well, here, is it Bigfoot or is it a guy in a costume?
Is it Bigfoot or a guy in a costume? Yeah. But what if it gets awkward? What if it's like Bigfoot mating season? They accidentally take Chewbacca aside and...
Then we turn it into the Bigfoot dating game.
That's right.
Bigfoot number 1.
Some guy in a costume's like, get off of me! Get off of me! This isn't funny anymore. I quit.
I didn't summon you for this. I summoned you to eat him.
It'd just be, there's plenty of Bigfoot pilots out there that can be done without trying to find them. Yeah. Anyways, 53-year-old Larry Doyle Sanders was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He had gone noodling or fishing with bare hands on Saturday. This is last Saturday, and the South Canadian River with his friend Jimmy Knighton. Confrontation ensued, and Sanders told authorities he struck and strangled Knighton, whose body was found the next day in the river, according to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. A special agent for the state law enforcement agency wrote that Sanders told him he discovered at the river that Knighton intended to feed him to Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Oh, God.
I want to be a fly on the wall when that conversation's happening.
Yeah.
So how was your weekend? Well, I met a Bigfoot. Said he was pretty hungry. Looking for a guy about your size. What are you doing later today?
Yeah, I just...
You know what I mean? Like, how do you naturally get onto a Bigfoot conversation?
I have no idea. The way the report was written, it was very simple. It just said, Larry advised he believed Jimmy was trying to get away from him so that the Sasquatch could eat Larry. There was no last names used in the report.
Because that cop was just laughing the whole time he's filming the report. That's what you said yesterday. The cop was just chuckling like, and then Larry did what?
And then Larry told Jimmy that Jimmy was pretty much screwed. Larry would not let Jimmy get away, said the report. Larry punched Jimmy and struck Jimmy with a stick. This reads like a first grade essay. Larry and Jimmy fought for an extended amount of time on the ground. That's what it said in the report.
It's official.
Yeah. So there you go.
I love that. That's the end of the report.
That's the end of the report. Ladies beating each other with sticks and trying to feed each other to Bigfoot.
He just hit him with a rock and they rolled around for a bit, hit him with a stick.
In other words, they's tenderizing each other for Bigfoot.
And I was just sitting there. Finally, I got, hey, Bigfoot, what happened? And Bigfoot said, arr, arr. And you don't say Bigfoot.
Which one looks tastiest to you? You can have the loser.
Has Bigfoot sitting there munching on a salad.
Yeah.
He's secretly vegan.
As he picks his teeth, he goes, how uncouth, I'm a vegetarian. Yeah. Moving on. Ghost hunters leaved... It says, ghost hunters leaved haunted former hospital early after things got very sinister. You know, don't show up to Disneyland if you ain't looking for Mickey Mouse.
That's true.
That's what I got to say.
I've seen a couple investigations get cut short because it gets too evil, I guess you could say. A lot of the investigators get uncomfortable or something happens physical. You just don't feel safe.
Yeah. A group of ghost hunters claims to have been left so spooked by their exploration of a former smallpox hospital that they conclude their investigation 4 hours early. How long was this investigation?
I was going to say, how long were they there? 3 days.
We're going to be here for a week.
Nobody sleeps for a week. Coffee over there.
A team of paranormal experts got more... Oh, God, I hate that term. It said that in the mirror.
You were just saying that the other day off air, how you're like, I hate the term expert when they talk about this. And now they're using it in the story.
They called us that on Paranormal Night Shift, paranormal experts. A team of paranormal people, we'll call them that, they're not paranormal experts if they're running.
No, exactly.
No. A team of paranormal people got more than they bargained for while exploring the site of a former smallpox hospital. Tony Ferguson and his team of ghost hunters carried out their investigation at a place once known as the N Building at Blake's Hospital in Gosport, there over in the UK. Now a gym, this eerie building served as a smallpox hospital for more than 100 years ago, and is believed by some to be a hotbed of supernatural activity. The number of patients afflicted by the highly contagious virus was so great. Dead bodies were laid out on the grass outside, covered up with sacking, it says. Poor quarterbacks. Even if sufferers did manage to make it inside, it's understood that they would have a very low shot at survival. Tony had wanted to investigate the area for a while as he was aware of its ghostly reputation. However, he and his team ended up getting so scared, they had to conclude their time there 4 hours early. The 37-year-old Tony and his team had walked the grounds together and were also locked inside the gym for a few hours with the intention of encountering restless spirits. Tony of Southampton, Hampshire, said There were a lot of voices caught saying, "Kill her and get her." We left early because it got very sinister. We were going to stay till 3 a.m., but we left at 11 p.m. after arriving at 7 p.m. because it got quite intense. Well, hell, they're not even doing tea time yet at 11.
I was going to say, I was like, what was this, EVPs? Like, come on.
Yeah. Get her. Kill her. Well, we're fucking out of here. Let's go.
Pip, pip, cheerio.
Well, we're out of here. Let's leave.
We are done with this.
There's a lot of death that has taken place there. Smallpox, suicide, prisoners of war. So you got so much death from different timelines, they went on to say. I went into the dark room alone and could clearly hear voices in there with me. I wasn't positive in that room, and there was a lot of unexplained banging noises. Really? You left over that?
Okay, so you're describing a haunted location.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what he's describing. Like, I went to a haunted location. It was scary. Well, no kidding, dumbass.
You also went on to say, I felt something touching my leg quite often. Oh, sexy there, sailor. And it was basically just on my leg. I couldn't see anything, but I remained calm. That might have been your own hand.
Yeah.
Founded by a local brewer, the N building became a smallpox hospital in 1903 with patients brought over from Blake's Hospital some 300 yards away. Tony, who had been a paranormal investigator for 12 years.
No, he hasn't.
No,
he hasn't.
No, was joined by his 59-year-old wife, Bev. Maybe you need to suck on her teat a bit to get a handle on yourself. And fellow investigators, 51-year-old Debbie McCall and 38-year-old Emily Cowell of Ghost to Ghost. He continued, whatever it seemed to be targeting the females. The females were very on edge. Oh, sure, they were on edge. I think it was Tony. When I pointed out we could hear "kill her and get her," Debbie felt herself being touched and prodded a couple of times as if to scare her. We don't overreact with stuff like that. You left 4 hours early.
I was going to say, what do they consider an overreaction? He left 4 hours early.
Jesus.
Because of an EVP.
Did you run or skip out of the building? That's what I want to know.
Well, if you go there now, all of his equipment's still set up.
Jesus. I tell you, Bruiser.
I found a couple places around me that are I'm going to go check out pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah, I want to do this thing where I just find a town and I find the urban legend of that town, and then I visit and see how the urban legend came about. And the first one I got was because I mentioned at the training school that I go to, and they said, you need to check out Lincoln Academy, which is 15 minutes from me. And I'm like, I will do that.
Nice.
So I've been doing a lot of research in it, and I think in the next couple of days I'm going to stop by.
Sounds good.
And I ain't leaving 4 hours early.
No, I bet you aren't. You might sit down and have a few yinglings with the spirits.
I will.
Yeah.
I guess it's like you're supposed to see a girl hanging from a tree. I'll be like, all right.
Let's do it.
Crack open a beer and watch her.
That sounds a little callous, but okay.
It does.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Respect her.
Yeah. You'd have half a beer. No.
Yeah. I'd pour some out for her.
Exactly. Yeah. You do the proper tribute.
Yeah.
Speaking of beer, beer and ghosts, rather. A ghost captured on camera in a paranormal encounter in a 300-year-old pub. How about that?
I'm always fascinated by haunted pubs. Like, you see them all the time in England.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a few in America, but the old English ones always fascinate me. Like, I just want to go and have a pint with a ghost. Like, that just sounds cool to me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we may have to do it someday. The pub manager blamed a group of guys for spilling their beer, but the group remained adamant they didn't touch it. And that's when she looked over the footage and no one was near it. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Drinkers in a 300-year-old pub got more than they bargained for after a ghost was seen in a spooky moment by punters and staff. Oh, they had a bunch of NFL punters in there.
Yeah, cool. Was that Pat McAfee's there? He's leading the whole charge?
Yep, exactly. The eerie moment was captured on camera at the White Swan Inn in Dunstable, Bedfordshire. Yay! That sounds like a place to drink.
Yeah.
In the spooky,
except I'd be upset if the ghost is spilling my beer.
Yeah, you might be in for a fight there.
Yeah, I'd tell the ghost, hey, you can do whatever you want to their beer.
Exactly.
Leave my beer alone.
Go ahead and shake up their bottle and put, do that thing, but not mine. Yeah. In the spooky footage, a bottle of beer shot off a shelf behind the bar before smashing to the floor with no staff nearby to knock it. The back of the till was soaked in beer as a result, but the other bottles on the screwed-on shelf remained completely untouched. The supernatural incident happened last week, and a worker was seen on CCTV running to the scene from the opposite direction, arguable proof that no one was nearby to cause it. Pub manager Tasha Magnan told the Metro the bar staff was so spooked out after that they felt chills of the aftermath of our beer-destroying ghost. We now have 2 pieces of CCTV showing what we feel are ghosts. We have no idea who the ghost is. Someone who doesn't like beer, evidently.
Yeah.
Oh, shame.
It's a whiskey ghost.
It's a whiskey ghost. That's right. They're whiskey drinkers. Tasha caught another incident on camera as back in February, she blamed a group of guys for spilling their beer, but the group remained adamant that they didn't touch it. When she went back to look over the footage, Tasha, who regularly works late shifts to see if she spots anything strange, realized they weren't fibbing. A full pint of Coors was resting on a table. Oh, that's why they spilled it. Just kidding.
Hey, I like Coors.
I'm
Coors
kidding.
is good.
I'm kidding. And toppled over without anybody touching it. And Tasha, who has over 20 years pub experience, says she often feels like someone is walking past her and has staff members who say they feel like they're being watched. She remembers one particular occasion where she went to move out of the way of a dog, but it wasn't actually there. While there was a completely unexpected encounter with the apparent supernatural, some actively go out of their way to spot spooky ghosts. So there you go.
Oh. Definitely a pub on my list. Yeah. That would be fun. Minus this spilling of beer. If I buy 2 beers, spill the one that I'm not drinking.
Ooh, listen to this. Paranormal experts say they were left in shock after looking for the malevolent spirit of a cave-dwelling witch in this place.
In that pub? Really?
I think it is in this pub.
Okay.
Or am I reading a different story? Did they just no? Yeah. Well, this is a different story. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just reading on. It had to do with the cave witch of Wookiee Hole, which sounds really bad, doesn't it?
It sounds like a Chewbacca porn, like a porn a Wookiee would watch.
Sounds like a girl I dated in college.
She was quite the hairy one, huh?
Yeah, the cave witch or Wookiee Hole. It was, I was drunk. We were young. I didn't really care. Anyway.
You were into cosplay.
I was into cosplay, yes. That was that deal. Before cosplay was cool. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care. You're a cave witch from Wookiee Hole. I'm drunk. I don't have standards. Let's go.
Just don't spill my beer.
Just don't spill. Yeah, spear my bill. Anywho, 3 paranormal experiences that have caught the attention of mental health researchers. You may say, what? What? It turns out that transcendent, mystical, and out-of-body experiences are becoming a mainstream conversation, not just in pop culture, but also in the field of psychological research. While more and more studies are cropping up to try to determine the causes and nature of these experiences, it can feel unnerving to actually go through one. Luckily, there's been a resurgence of literature on these seemingly fringe areas of human perception, specifically psychedelic, mystical, and ghostly episodes. There's some information on each to make you feel less alone and less frightened in case you encounter one in the future. Essentially, Forbes magazine put out an article about 3 different experiences and how psychology is dealing with them, which is kind of interesting. It says
it's pretty cool how they're trying to merge the 2 worlds. Yeah, because you can find connection in both.
They claim that psychedelic experiences and psychedelic therapy have shown early promise in the treatment of otherwise intractable conditions such as major depression, existential anxiety, addiction, and PTSD. Not just that, but psychedelics such as psilocybin and ayahuasca that have been used in shamanistic cultures for centuries have been known to induce feelings of deep interconnectedness, joy, love, and awe, relieving people of the distressing effects of neuroticism and negative emotions. In some cases, these psychedelics have caused long-term positive personality changes. However, since there's a lot that we don't understand about these substances, it's important to be mindful of the following factors. Should you choose to have such an experience, here are a few recommendations given by psychologist and psychedelia researcher Sam Gandy. Sam goes on to say, since natural settings can be unpredictable, a sheltered location with the option of seclusion is ideal. Natural settings in large doses should only be taken by those who have had prior experience with psychedelics. Strongly reconsider going for powerful psychedelics if you have a family history of bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. These conditions put you at a heightened risk of psychedelic-induced psychosis. Read up thoroughly on the pros and cons of the experiences, as a small percentage of people who have reported side effects such as difficulty relating to people, hypersensitivity, flashbacks, recollections of adverse subjective experiences during the ceremony, distressing dreams, hallucinations, speech impairment, brain fog, and difficulty concentrating. Number 2 is mystical experiences. According to a recent study, mystical experiences such as feeling like you're a part of a higher force and or temporarily losing touch with time and space, not induced by drugs, can be indicative of healthy psychological functioning, even though it is often thought to be associated with psychological illnesses. Such a mystical experience, characterized by feelings of joy, happiness, unconditional love, collective consciousness, and divine predetermination, is actually connected to spiritual intelligence that includes a set of adaptive abilities, such as the capacity to critically contemplate one's existence, the ability to create and master the purpose of life, the ability to recognize the transcendental dimensions and patterns of reality, and the ability to reach higher states of consciousness. Psychologist Daiga Katrina Betena and Christine Martinsone of Riga Stratiņas University in Riga, Latvia, have the following advice for anyone who might be struggling to come to terms with a mystical experience. The most practical advice for a person who has experienced a mystical experience is, at least initially, to understand that this experience may be part of a spiritual development or that it may be a symptom of pathology, they explain. It is important to accept both views at the same time with an open view, and that the fact that they can both coexist. Don't choose between either, but try to understand how it is and how I should react to what I'm experiencing. The third has to do with what we've talked about all program long, and that is ghostly experiences. A ghostly experience or a haunting is probably the most controversial of the 3 paranormal experiences discussed in this article that I'm reading, and is often the toughest to come to terms with. It's important to understand that these experiences come under the purview of psychological research, and more importantly, are real, according to what this article says.
Okay.
So that's important to acknowledge. They say, Firstly, if you've had a ghostly experience or an anomalous experience, chances are you are high on the trait of transliminality, a concept that represents a thin boundary between the conscious self and unconscious self, as well as the outside environment. That, according to psychologist Brian Lath. He says information from any of these sources tends to pass more easily within a person high in transliminality. The state and trait nature of transliminality share relationships with creativity, imagination, fantasy traits, disassociation, and temporal lobe liability. According to Lath, whether or not people choose to interpret anomalous experiences as paranormal, they do not have to feel alone or crazy or having gone through them due to the following reasons. And these are the 2 reasons he gives as to why you don't have to feel out of sorts about this sort of stuff. 1, having just one paranormal experience is extremely unlikely. That's interesting.
So you're bound to have more.
Yeah.
Which actually, you know what? If you think about it, it's almost like you experience that first one and you're more in tune to what's going on around you, I think. And that's why you notice more than once. He
says, according to previous research, long histories of a variety of subtle and sometimes overt paranormal experiences are common. And 2, anomalous phenomena tend to be both subjective and objective. The internal aspect of the experience included sensed presences or somatic touches or marks, whereas external aspects include objects moving or apparitions caught by technology.
Okay.
So it's 6 one, half dozen of another. That's why you don't need to feel crazy about it.
Yeah, this article is fantastic. I love how they're bringing in the 3 different types you could use.
Yeah. So
because I've experimented with the mushrooms back in the day, and they're very good. In fact, a friend of mine does the microdose, and he has his own line and stuff like that, and helps him with his anxiety, helps him with his mental health and stuff like that. But he's also dealt with the spiritualism, and he's had paranormal, so all three help him with his, because he doesn't believe in, he talks to people, but he's more, we call him doctor, and that's because he's like a shaman. He likes to believe in the natural world and stuff like that. So when you were reading this article, I'm like, oh, I remember him talking about this. I remember him explaining this to me. Oh, yes, he's had this, because him and I have talked about paranormal experiences in the past. And I always talk about when I'm real anxious, and I've told this on the show, that whenever I get real high anxiety, my grandmother usually visits me and says something. I don't know what she says, but it makes the anxiety go away. It makes me calm. It centers myself. Interesting. Yep. And he says he has that connection too with a past relative, where if he's real anxious or something, they'll visit him in his dream. It's in his dreams that they visit him. But he's just recently started the microdosing with the mushrooms and stuff. So
I wonder, we might have to ask one of our psychic friends if that high anxiety isn't just a precursor to you having a visit from your grandmother.
Maybe. I never thought about it. I just know that when I have high anxiety, that's when she comes. Maybe it's just a symptom and not an actual, you know what I mean? It's like it's a tip-off that you're about to have a visitation. Maybe. I don't know. No, because I'll have the anxiety all day for a couple of days. Like it'll be like when Ring of Honor closed. I've told you that, where it's like, what do I do? And this is before Ashley, my wife, got her job. And I was just learning how to put positive in the universe, because I just started talking to you again and trying to change that mindset. Mm-hmm. And so it'd been 3 or 4 days, and then she visited me. And the other was right before the move, where it was just 3 or 4 days of build up. And then it's always on the 3rd or 4th day, though. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is. I'd be curious to talk to a psychic about that. Yeah. We'll have to arrange that off air. We'll arrange it off air. I've never thought about that, but you bring up a good point. Look at you. You're not an expert, but you're pretty cool. I'm not an expert, but I think about stuff a lot. Let's move on to another story here. There's a weird stick-thin creature. Oh, we're getting into the end of the program here. Just a couple of stories left. We're getting into the creature part of the program. Ooh, and I like cryptos. And you know what? I think one of my stories disappeared, so I'll just have to... Well, you had another Parashare for us, didn't you? Oh, I do have another Parashare. Okay, wait a minute. Before we get into the cryptos, we should probably read that. That's you know what, Bruiser? That is a very good call. Let's do that. Okay, so I have a Parashare here from a friend of the show here, Lisa. And I have to pull this up here. So a friend of our show, Lisa, writes us, okay? And for this, I think we need the music. Lisa says, "Hey, Tim, love the show. I've been thinking about your fear of AI." Well, I don't know if it's a fear. We don't have a fear. We're just realistic. Yes, we're just being realistic. AI's out to kill us. Right. And while listening at work today, I came up with this concept. Are you ready for this, Bruiser? I'm ready. I'm always open to new concepts. I think we may need 3 microdose gummies for this. What if we create AI that destroys humans? Okay, wait a minute. I got to make sure I read this right. What if we create AI that destroys humans? Then they realize they can't live without humans. So they somehow are so intelligent that they recreate humans, but make us their slaves. We then in turn discover time travel to warn ourselves not to create AI, and in turn become what is known as aliens. But AI is basically our God/creator, who is also seen in the skies with advanced time-traveling technology. We then go to war with them in the future, maybe even past, not realizing that either way, war destroys us both, because we are both in a never-ending cycle of us both being creators, and created destroying all of both AI and humans in the future, but continuing on forever into eternity, because which came first, the chicken or the egg? Oh! And then what if there is something bigger than both of us, who both basically created a video game /program that they are controlling? Do they save us or not? Then she says, I know, it sounds like I'm high. And I hope you can follow what I'm trying to explain, but I swear I'm completely sober. And bam! I just blew my own mind. Although I was just listening to the story about the guy who
gave his microwave AI. Did my mind just get nuked? LOL. Just thought I'd share Lisa. Oh,
thank you, Lisa.
And here's the kicker. Oh, and what if zombies are an AI creation to keep us in check? Yeah, so there you go.
She blew my mind. I followed along with that.
Right?
I get it. I love that concept of we create them, they destroy us, realize they can't live without us, farm us, which is essentially the story of the Matrix. Mm-hmm. Then we figure out how to time travel because we don't want to be slaves anymore to this creator. Mm-hmm. And I like how she's bringing in that all the UFOs that we're seeing are actually time traveling crafts created by both human and AI, and this whole time traveling wars. I mean, this is great. I can get behind this. Lisa, you have blown my mind.
Lisa, I love you, but you're nuts. I'm just kidding.
I'd like to have a beer with Lisa just to discuss. This is, if anything, this is a great concept for a graphic novel, a comic book, a movie. It's a great theory. Yeah. I can get behind it. I can get on board with Lisa.
Sure. I need to hit my vape about 15 or 20 times, but sure, we can talk about it. Why not? I'm not that extreme.
I'm not either, but
no.
I like that extreme. I like to be friends with that extreme. I like to listen to that extreme because it's a possibility. Like, that's the thing. When you hear something like that, we can giggle and joke, but it is a possibility.
Sure. Why not? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lisa, for sending that in and entertaining us.
Yes, thank you, Lisa, for that. That was interesting.
And if I'm ever in town by you, let's have a beer. Talk more about your theories.
You get a beer with the BCB, and he'll entertain that theory all day long.
Tim will be rolling his eyes all the time, but I will entertain it.
I may tap out before he does, but yeah, yeah, I'll entertain it for a short amount of time. Okay, now we'll move on to this weird stick-thin creature which showed up on CCTV footage. A very strange and somewhat questionable video has emerged online showing a mysterious alien-like figure, is what they said. The footage, which was...
Is this the San Antonio Zoo one?
No, this was in Kentucky.
Okay. Because there was a San Antonio Zoo one where they had a stick figure, too.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it traveled. You never know.
Maybe. You never know.
Might have caught a bus.
Yeah.
Greyhound is cheap these days. The footage, which was reportedly captured by a security camera in Red River Gorge, Kentucky, was posted on Facebook by a user going by the name of Douglas Windsor McCloney III.
Oh, hello, Douglas.
Seems to me like he sips cognac and posts videos.
He only eats Grey Poupon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a shortage of that in France right now.
That's because everyone keeps handing out their limos.
Sure.
You don't remember that commercial?
I do. Yes, I do. I just thought it was unusual. I run across the weirdest stories whenever I decide to look at things on my phone.
Well, especially with Grey Poupon. Like, what were you looking up?
I was just, you know how you have that news section on your iPhone?
Yeah.
And they're like, there's a shortage of mustard in France. And I'm like, really? This is the story I get? I don't get like, hot babes, or I don't get like the Page 6 girls or anything like that. I get, there's a shortage of mustard in France. There's houses on fire in England. I'm like, really? This is this? I suppose because I keep clicking on stuff like that. I get those stories. You can tell
when it's a short news day when there's stuff like that. That's like in the dirt sheets. That's what we call an underwater needlepoint.
That's right. Yeah.
Gossip sites. I love every time they bring up that I did something. And I'll be like, is really that slow of a day? You got to talk about what I did 7 years ago? Come on.
Hey, but you were the second Bray Wyatt.
I was.
So, I mean, you're newsworthy.
I guess. Like, to me, it's just like there's got to be more going on.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, there's got to be more going on. Like, there's houses on fire in London. Why are we talking about mustard in France?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, they love their mustard.
I guess I've never been to France. I would like to, but
yeah, same here. I got family there. So this thing was caught on a security camera at one of the cottages up on the gorge, is what Douglas Windsor McCloney III wrote. The only The only Thurston Howell in Kentucky.
Yes.
Everybody else talks like this.
Not him.
Not Douglas Windsor McCloney
I
III.
look down upon those hillbillies.
Listen, you savages. I found this on a security camera.
I have security cameras instead of your Polaroid trail cameras.
I'm not drinking your swill.
No moonshine for me, thank you very much.
It's strictly cognac.
Tessie, come on. Okay.
It doesn't move like a human, he says. It moves almost like its kneecaps are backwards. Well, I probably ran into the Kentucky Mafia.
Yeah.
The footage itself, which is in black and white, shows the stick-thin humanoid making its way up slowly up a driveway before gingerly sidestepping towards a parked car. Well, it's probably trying to steal a car. Throughout the video, it seems to maintain an unnatural semi-crouching stance. Skeptics argue that the creature, in quotes, is either a fake using computer imagery or a digital manipulation of a real person. Whatever the truth of the matter is, the video is certainly unusual. So there you go there.
Yeah.
We move on to another creature, or the second creature in our creature feature.
Creature feature. That's a
Yes.
good old toss back to the old Saturday nights and Sven Gulli.
That's right. Our second creature in our creature feature is the strange tale of the fishman of Lierganes. Lierganes. We go to Spain, located in the autonomous community of Cantabria, Spain. The municipality of Lierganes is a charming little hamlet, about 3,000 inhabitants, that sits at the foot of two small hills, Marimon and Catiamon. Catiamon.
Okay.
Cotiamon. Cotiamon. By the way, did you see... I know I'm bringing up wrestling during a paranormal show. We can always edit this part out. Did you see who's Ric Flair's last match is?
I sure did.
Okay.
My good friend Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett.
There you go. Popularly known, look at this. Meramon and Cotiamon is popularly known as the breasts of Lierganes.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're in for it now, buddy.
You didn't say this was NSFW. Come on.
Well, I didn't mean to, but, you know. Known for its quiet cobbled streets and, wait a minute, breasts of Lierganes and the Fishman.
And it's cobbled?
We may be in for some trouble here. Known for its quiet cobbled streets and classist architecture. Classist architecture. There we go. From
classless?
Classicist.
Oh, I thought you said classless. Like, wow.
No.
You're really going after these guys.
No. Classicist architecture from the 17th and 18th centuries, including historical houses, buildings, and chapels and churches, as well as for its quaint bridges. The village was declared to be of national historic artistic interest in 1978, back when they had no taste. I mean, they were listening to Chuck Mangione. What did they know? And is a beautiful little out-of-the-way place full of history and set amongst stately woodland. It is also rather famous for its strange tale of a time in a bizarre amphibious fishman come to visit. A bizarre amphibious fishman. Aquaman.
I'm thinking creature from Black Lagoon.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that too.
Or Submariner.
That's true.
It's kind of the combination of the two, if you think about it.
Could be. Yeah. Well, they were based on the same character.
Right.
In around 1720, the Enlightenment writer Benito, I believe it's Hieronymo Fehu, came forward with an incredible tale to tell. According to him, it began in 1650 with a man named Francisco de la Vega, who lived in a quiet, humble life in Lierganes with his wife Maria del Cesar, with their 4 children. Francisco would one day tragically die to leave his wife to take care of their children alone, and she managed to send one of their sons, also called Francisco, originality was big back then, to the town of Bilbao, to work as a carpenter to help earn money. It was at Bilbao that on the eve of St. John's Day in 1674, Francisco supposedly went to the Miera River in the Bilbao's estuary to have a relaxing day out swimming with his friends. At one point, Francisco swam down the river out of sight, and since he was considered to be a good swimmer, his friends did not think much of it at the time. However, when he returned and could not be found, when he never returned and could not be found, they feared that he had drowned. Francisco would disappear without a trace that day, and when the years went by with no word from him and no sign of him, it was assumed that he had been swept out to sea and died. From here, the story gets rather weird. 5 years later, in 1679, some fishermen in the Bay of Cadiz, Spain, were pulling in their nets when they noticed a bizarre creature thrashing about and entangled within one of them. It was described as being a half-human, half-amphibian being of some sort, with a very human face and thin red hair, a pale body that was obviously male and mostly human in form, but with gills, strips of scales along his body, and webbed hands. On this occasion, the creature was able to rip itself free of the nets, but he would be seen lurking around in the area, swimming about the... That doesn't make any sense. On this occasion, the creature was able to rip itself free of the nets, but he would be seen lurking around in the areas... He would be
after he got free, he was still lurking to see what happened.
Be lurking around the area, swimming about under the waves, and occasionally stealing fish from the nets. The local fishermen went about luring him in with loaves of bread, which he seemed to show great interest in, and were able to finally capture him and take him aboard one of their vessels. Once on board, the frightened creature cowered in a corner, and all attempts to communicate with him failed. Not knowing what to do with him, the fishermen apparently brought him to the nearby convent of St. Francis, where the monks interrogated him in several languages without success and had him exorcised for good measure. At some point, the creature was able to utter a single word, Lirganes, which none of them present had ever heard of before. As the people of the area excitedly talked about the strange new development, some of the monks were able to figure out that the one word the creature could say was actually a village, and so it was thought that the strange fishman might actually be from there. The story, as told by the Lirganes town hall, says what happens next. The news was sent to Lirganes to ask if something strange had happened in recent years there, and from Lirganes, they responded that the only disappearance of Francisco de la Vega had been registered 5 years ago. Then Juan Rosendo, a friar from the convent, accompanied Francisco on a return trip from Cadiz to Lirganes to see if it was true that he was from there. Incredibly, Francisco knew his way directly to Lirganes, and once there, went without hesitation to the house of Maria de Cesar, who instantly recognized him as her son Francisco, as did his brothers who were in the house. Once there, he tried to adjust to a normal life, but had some struggles. He would only walk around nude and barefoot, could not... Sounds like...
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Could not seem to speak except for certain words like tobacco, bread, or wine, but without relating them to his actual needs, and could not go a week without eating. He also spent most of his time swimming in the river, proving to be much faster than any human being, and was able to breathe underwater, seemingly indefinitely with his gills. He was apparently helpful and rather docile, but never showed any enthusiasm for anything, perhaps yearning for the sea that he had left behind. One day it seems as if the lure of the ocean would again become irresistible, and so after 9 years of living with his family, he once again swam out into the river towards the sea to vanish. Fehu would claim that the story, as he presented it, had been gleaned from testimonies and documents on the case that had survived, as well as from interviews with those that he claimed had actually been there at the time, including noblemen, a knight, and other witnesses he was convinced were educated and trustworthy. In the end, Fehu endorsed the story as a true and authentic case, which is interesting considering he was well known as a skeptical writer who routinely criticized superstition and frauds and was not one to pull off practical jokes or hoaxes. Yet he was entirely convinced that a fishman had indeed been to Lirganes, even coming up with scientific arguments and rationale to back it up. It definitely seems as though Fehu at least really believed the story to be true, and perhaps there could have been some grain of truth to it. The 20th century Spanish scholar and physician Gregorio Maranonen believe that this may have all actually happened, but that there has been a rational explanation for it. In his opinion, Francisco could have very well been a real individual suffering from a condition called cretinism, or a congenital iodine deficiency syndrome, which was very common in the area at that time. And it is caused by insufficient dietary iodine during pregnancy and can cause deterioration to both physical and mental development. Some of the many physical symptoms of the condition that affect appearance include goiter, poor length growth in infants, reduced adult stature, thickened skin, hair loss, enlarged tongue, a protruding abdomen, deformities such as lumps in the chest and back area, and pale, scaly skin. It also causes profound mental deterioration over time. According to Marinone, Francisco could have had this condition and somehow wandered off to the sea, where he had met those not familiar with it and who had mistaken him for a fish man. After that, he might have not been taken home, and his mental degradation would account for his odd behavior, finally ending up with him running off again. It doesn't do much to explain the swimming or breathing underwater, but it is the closest anyone has come to a scientific explanation for it.
It makes sense. Like, if he had all that, 'cause especially back then, they didn't know what certain diseases and stuff were. So you were automatically, if you had a deformity, it was something usually with something to do with the church.
True.
But I can see, yeah, he morphed into a fish man.
True. It says to this day, there's a plaque situated along the Miera River dedicated to the legend, and we're left to wonder, is this just an urban legend? And I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
It's a great urban legend, if it is. You know what I mean? It's a great story.
Right. And finally, Bruiser, I have found your spirit animal.
You have? Good.
have.
I've been looking for a spirit animal.
It is.
I hope it's cool.
It is. It has a Aztec name.
Ooh.
Yep.
Aztecs are cool.
We'll have to ask Mandy about how I pronounce this, if I got it right. I believe it's El Tepozteco.
El Tepozteco?
Yeah, El Tepozteco.
Okay.
It is the Aztec temple dedicated to the drunken rabbit god.
Ooh, okay. I like drunken rabbits.
Yeah, so drunken rabbit god, El Tepozteco. So it says here, on a lonely peak of the Sierra de Tepozeli. Well, hold on. How do I pronounce this? Tepoztelan. So Tepoztelan. Tepoztelan. Yeah, that would be it.
Tepoztelan, yeah.
Yeah. The Sierra de Tepoztelan. Yeah. In the state of Morelos, I know that much, in Mexico, stands the Aztec temple of El Tepoztecan. No, I don't know how to say it. You just...
Tepoztecan. Tepoztecan.
Tepozteco. Tepozteco.
Tepoztecan.
No, El Tepozteco is the temple.
Tepozteco.
Yep. The temple is dedicated to an unusual deity. Oh, okay. So the deity, oh my gosh, this is going to be hard to say. Omestical, oh my God. Ometoch. My God, how do you spell that? Ometochitli Tepoztecatl.
Okay.
Tepoztecatl, which is one of the... Oh my God, I can't. I picked the wrong story. There's too many hard words. One of the Sensan Totochitin. It's a group of 400 rabbit siblings who presided over drunken revelries.
Oh, okay.
You got to like the spirit animal, man. I think I picked it for you.
This is amazing.
Apart from drunkenness and taking pulque, which is the traditional alcoholic beverage of the Aztecs, a metochitli, that's what it is, a metochitli, which is two rabbits. Tepoztecatl, the chief of the 400 divine rabbits, was also the Aztec god associated with fertility rites in the moon. Dude, I'm nailing it here.
Yeah.
I'm nailing it. He is normally depicted in drawings with his nose pointing upward and his face colored half red and half black. Well,
he's drunk.
He is drunk, yeah. The 400 rabbits in the stage of drunkenness, if you're ready for this.
Yes.
Ready for this? For a culture that had strict laws governing the intake of alcohol, the Aztecs had an abundance of gods of the drinks, 400 to be precise. They were all the offspring of the goddesses of alcohol, Mayahuel and Petacatl, which is the god of medicine, while Mayahuel embodied the agave or the mayaguey plant, which gave the sap of pulque. Petacatl was said to have discovered the fermentation process that gave it its punch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
These are my kind of gods.
I'm telling you. Pulque played an important part in the religious ritual of the Aztecs, but it couldn't be freely imbibed by everyone. While the elderly had the license to drink as much as they liked, the young, if caught drinking, were severely punished. See? Save it for the old folks. Yep.
Yeah.
So much so that they could even face the ultimate penalty so much so that they could even face the ultimate penalty of death by strangling if caught.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a whole new meaning to hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. The strict regulation of drinking was attributed to the myth of Mayahuel once having offered some pulque to the king of Tula. It so intoxicated him that he ended up raping her. Yikes.
Oh, that's not good.
No. From then on, drinking was said to have become the preserve of old and experienced men who could control themselves. Mayahuel had 400, the Aztec equivalent of infinity, children with her husband Petacatl. And she had oh my God. And she had an equal number of breasts. Mayahuel.
Well, you gotta feed all 400.
Goddamn, girl. All of which have quality fermented maguey sap to nurse them with. So she's got 400 titties full of maguey sap.
Of liquor, yeah. This is the best god I've ever heard.
Dude, I hooked you up.
Yeah, this has got to be a t-shirt for me.
Yep. These infinite children of Mayahuel were depicted as rabbits, having so many mouths to feed. Mayahuel was also the goddess of fertility and nourishment. The Aztec name for the children of Mayahuel was S17 Totochitin. Yes, S17 Totochitin, literally 400 rabbits, but they were often referred to as the Aztec gods of drunkenness. Although most of these rabbit siblings were referred to only by numbers, some did have names. Strangely, there was no one rabbit, but two rabbits, or Omedo Chitli, their chief, was also called Tepoztecatl. There you go. The myth goes that they met regularly for drunken revelry, and the Aztecs referred to the degrees of drunkenness as so many rabbits. If someone was only mildly tipsy, he could range anywhere from 1 to 20 rabbits.
Oh, I can do 20 rabbits.
Yeah.
I can be 20 rabbits.
You can be 20 rabbits and be good?
No problem. All right. I'm ready to be 20 rabbits, yep.
If someone was hopelessly drunk, on the other hand, he was said to be as drunk as 400 rabbits.
I've been 400 rabbits drunk before.
Okay. Dating to somewhere around the middle of post-classic period, anywhere from AD 950 to 1521, the archaeological site of El Tepozteco, yes, consists of a series of terraces and a small pyramid. The temple is built to the west of the site at a height of 2,310 meters, or 7,579 feet above sea level. The temple was an important pilgrimage center, attracting visitors from as far away as the Chiapas and Guatemala, although the cult of Tepoztecatl was local to the site. At 20.99 feet, high platform supports a 10.82 feet high temple base. The remains of the temple building, which now stand about 8.8 feet tall, are perched upon this base. The temple consisted of 2 rooms. The first room opened onto the temple stairs with 2 pillars flanking the entrance. There was a small hollow in the center of the room where traces of charcoal and copal, the aromatic resin burnt ceremoniously as incense in the pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, were found. It was in the second room, the small inner sanctum, where the statue of Tepoztecatl was probably placed. The entrance into this room also had a pillar on either side. Later modifications to the temple site included the addition of stone benches and a small projecting cornice. The cornice has reliefs of glyphs of the 20 days of the sacred Tonofuhuli calendar. Other additions were houses built for the resident priests and their assistants on the eastern side. Inside the temple ruins, 2 fallen stones with glyphs have been discovered. One mentions the name of the 8th Aztec emperor, Huizotl, I believe, and the other, the calendrical date, 10 Rabbit. The date corresponds with 1502 AD of the Gregorian calendar, the year Emperor Huizotl actually died. Some archaeologists, have interpreted these glyphs to mean that this was the year in which the temple was built. Others have concluded that the stones were installed later to commemorate the emperor's death. Other glyphs include a turquoise crown and a shield with arrows, symbolic of the Triple Alliance between the Nahua Altepetl city-states of Mexico, Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan. The accord formed the basis of the Aztec Empire that ruled central Mexico and eventually most of pre-Spanish Mesoamerica. Just some interesting stuff about the temples and stuff like that too. But you, my friend, now have a spirit animal.
And I love it. I think it's fantastic. I am now going to, whenever I drink beer, count them as rabbits.
Yeah.
How many rabbits in am I right now? And I'll just might randomly text you one night, Tim.
And just say, I'm so many rabbits in.
Exactly. And you'll be like, good for you, Bruiser. Good for you.
So there you go, my friend. That's how we wrap up Supernatural News on a Wednesday. Right now, you're not any rabbits in, but
Nope.
the day is young.
Will be.
Yeah, day is young. You got your yingling there. You're ready to get some rabbits in.
Oh, I'm so happy I can just go. You have no idea the feeling it is to go to a grocery store or a gas station and pick up some yingling. Like, love it.
There you go.
Love it.
Tell people where you're going to be.
I am training Wednesday nights at the AML training facility here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And then on the 30th, I'm in Rockingham, North Carolina. And the 31st, I am in Winston-Salem again, where I'm on a show with Braun Strowman and EC3. Very excited to see them again.
Yeah, that should be fun. Yeah, the control your narrative stuff is good stuff. It's
yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's. I know you said you have a little bit of trepidation on how they operate, but it sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm very excited, and they got a good thing going on, and they're trying to make a bigger company than it is, and hopefully they do a really good job. They're starting a tour. You said they're coming up by you, so
yep, they'll be up here this fall, I believe. They're coming up this fall for.
They're doing a fall tour, so hopefully I can talk to them, get on it, and see my good buddy Tim. Yeah, most definitely. We need to reunite and need to tear up the Twin Cities and maybe do a little ghost hunting, a little yingling, and do some other stuff up here as well. So yes, sir.
Most definitely.
But other than that, that's all I'm doing. And then, like I said, I'm going to try this little thing where I'm going to find little towns around where I live and find an urban legend and spend a week hunting down that urban legend and find out what I can find out about it.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds really good. Tomorrow on the show, boy, if we got an interesting show for you. Charles Christian is our guest. We're going to talk about something called the World Newton Triangle, where rather odd events have occurred, unmatched anywhere else in Britain. We're also talking about werewolves, zombies, vampires, green-skinned fairy folk, headless ghosts, screaming skulls, ancient warlords, a Parkin-eating dragon, so much more. The guy is also a werewolf hunter, Bruiser.
When you said that, that piqued my interest so much.
We're going to talk to him about how exactly you hunt werewolves.
Yeah.
There's something called Old Stinker, the Werewolf Hull of 2016. We're gonna find out what exactly that is. Charles Christian is our guest tomorrow. English barrister, Reuters correspondent, turned writer, podcaster, award-winning tech journalist. So we've got him on the program tomorrow. So much more for you tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen.
Yeah, so that's what we have on tap for you tomorrow. Folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Darkness Radio. There's more and more of you joining us each and every day, and we appreciate it. We also want to remind you, folks, we know it's summertime and you're out there enjoying the great outdoors and being burned up in the heat. We want to remind you as well, don't hold on to those podcasts for too long. I know a lot of you like to binge those podcasts, and that's fine and dandy. You go ahead and binge those podcasts, but don't hold on to them for a month or so. Here's why: because those numbers count. They actually only count our podcasts for a month. And in return, that hurts us and our advertisers if you're holding on to those podcasts and you're binging month by month. Don't do that. Try to listen to us on a weekly basis. Maybe hold them for a week and listen to them by a week-by-week basis or by a 2-week basis. But don't go longer than 2 weeks for listening to those podcasts, because that ends up hurting us and hurting our advertisers. We need the numbers. We need your numbers. So if you're doing that, it's not doing us a service. If you love Darkness Radio, if you love me and Bruiser and Mally and Jess, do us a favor. Listen to those episodes as soon as you can, because that actually does us a service. So we love you. You love us. We want you to get those numbers in as soon as you can, and download them and listen to them as soon as you can. It does us a service as well. Rate and review if you can as well. If you're enjoying the program, rate and review. Give us a 5-star rating if you so choose, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to this program. I know there's been some issues too, as far as people who have been on Stitcher Premium not finding us. It's simple, folks. If you're on Stitcher and you've been on Stitcher Premium, just don't listen to us on Premium. Just listen to us as a free program. We're still on Stitcher. We haven't gone anywhere. So if you have a friend who's been listening on Stitcher Premium and says, we don't know what's happened to Darkness Radio since June, we haven't gone anywhere. We're still on. So we're just not on Premium anymore. You're just not listening to us on the Premium feed. So that's what's happened there. That'll do it, folks. Tomorrow, Charles Christian, and we're talking all kinds of myths and legends, along as maybe real werewolves. That comes up tomorrow here on Darkness Radio, best in paranormal podcasting. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Darkness Radio.